All right, guys, so just got the board put together here for the finale, the finish of the granddaddy of them all. The Knoxville Nationals is completed, and the guy that everybody thought that was going to win this race going into the week ended up pulling it off and did it in relatively dominating fashion and did it with some interesting strategy along the line or along the way as well. And basically, led all 50 laps. It's his, I want to say, his fifth sprint car win in a row, his second Knoxville Nationals win in a row. He's now the second driver ever in the history of I believe it's the history of the 50-lap main event at Knoxville to lead 100 laps in a row during the race. So last year's 50 and this year's 50, only one other driver I'm pretty sure has ever done that before. And so Kyle Larson has now joined that list as well. And the list of accomplishments continue on for Kyle Larson. I believe it was in the middle of maybe E main or D main hot laps. He landed at the racetrack and came over from Richmond after qualifying over there in the Cup car and, got his hot laps in and started on the pole and led every lap of this feature and was uncontested the entire way. A couple of guys did get close throughout this race, and we'll talk about them here in just a moment. But really, it was all about the Silva Motorsports 57, and Kyle Larson would not be denied, and he continues to do incredible things. So we've got a lap-by-lap what happened during the race here on the board for you. Yes, I was at the race. I did watch the race. Obviously, if you've been paying attention to my channel all week, you know that I'm here at the track. But I did go back and watch on Dirt Vision and see some things that I may have missed and put them here in the lap-by-lap rundown. So real quick, we'll go through that. Lap 1, obviously, Kyle Larson jumps out to the early race lead. And on lap 4, Anthony Macri gets by Tyler Courtney to move into the 4th position. Macri was very, very good in this race the entire way. As you can see, he finished inside the top 5. Best Nationals finish by a mile for him. And he was up into 3rd, I believe, at one point in time in this race, or very close to it. Macri, extremely good here tonight. Lap 5, there is the one and only caution of the race. It is for Logan Schuchart. He goes into the work area and somehow is able to change the rear end gears in under 2 minutes and return to the racetrack. So it kind of sounded like over the speaker system that Johnny Gibson, Connor Wade, they said that Schuchart was going to be done. He's done for the night, but that was not the case. They were able to somehow change the rear end gear and get him back onto the racetrack. That might be the first time I've ever seen a rear gear change in the work area during the middle of the race and get back onto the racetrack. So Schuchart would return. On the restart, the running order is Kyle Larson. Then it's going to be then it's Darren Pittman, Carson Macedo, Rico Abreu, and Anthony Macri, the top 5. On lap 7, Macri slides by Rico Abreu to move into the 4th position. And, Macri lost a couple spots there after that lap 4 incident, but then would get back to that 4th position. And on lap number 10, Gio Scelzi is starting to make his way towards the front of the field. He gets by Macri for the 4th position and also gets by Rico Abreu at about the same time and moves up from 6th to 4th. So Scelzi getting by 2 cars there in about the span of a lap and a half there, and was extremely good here in the beginning portion of this race. On that same lap, Corey Day makes it his way up into the 8th position, getting by Scott Pogowski. And on lap 13, he then gets past Brian Brown and moves into the 7th spot. Lap 16, Kyle Larson's lead is up to 2.6 seconds over Darren Pittman. And on lap 16 as well, Carson Macedo finally makes his way past the 69K of Darren Pittman and into the 2nd position. And at that point in time, Macedo was, much, much faster than Pittman and was catching up to Kyle Larson relatively quickly. And it looked like for a minute that Macedo was actually going to take the lead before the halfway break, but it does not happen. Lap 18, Gio Scelzi now makes his way up into the 3rd spot, getting by Darren Pittman. Rico Abreu gets by Anthony Macri, and then Macri is able to swap it right back away from him down the front straightaway. A good battle between those two inside the top 5. On lap 21, Kyle Larson makes his way into lap traffic, and Macedo is closing in very, very quickly. You'll see here in just a moment that Carson Macedo at one point in time was like 2 seconds behind and got it down to about, 4 or 5 car lengths at one point in time before the halfway break would come in. On lap 24, Macri is now back to 4th again, and Corey Day is up to 5th. So Macri is bouncing all over the place between 4th and 6th there in the first 25 laps of this race, and Corey Day is slowly but surely making his way into the top 5 after starting in the 11th position. Then lap 25, the halfway break comes. The drivers all come down pit road. They're able to make adjustments to the cars. They can change tires if they want to. But guess what? Kyle Larson and Paul Silva do not change tires. I want to say, I mean, I wasn't down there, obviously. I was in the grandstands watching. I can't see every single car in the pit area, but I would have to guess that every car in the field probably changed a right rear tire. That is not what happened on that Fulkins Brothers Trucking 57 of Kyle Larson. And I have heard some rumblings here over the week that it seems like if your car is good with one tire and then you change out a tire that's the exact same measurements, the same exact everything, that it just makes the car not feel the exact same as it did before it came into the work area. It's very weird. So it seemed like Paul Silva did not want to risk that being an issue for Kyle Larson. He looked at the tire. He thought he had enough tread to make it the rest of the way, and that was the case. And so they sent him back onto the racetrack with the exact same tire, and he would run all 50 laps on that very same Hoosier right rear tire. On the restart there at the lap 25 break, it's Kyle Larson followed by Carson Macedo, Gio Scelzi in third, Anthony Macri fourth, and fifth is Corey Day. Sixth is Darren Pittman, seventh Brian Brown, eighth is Rico Abreu, ninth Tyler Courtney, and 10th is Scott Boguski at the lap 25 break. Then on lap number 28, they get back to racing. Gio Scelzi gets up to second, and he is absolutely hammering the bottom of the racetrack. If you want a lesson on how to run the bottom, go back and watch the laps for Gio Scelzi in this race, because you could not run the bottom more perfect than what he was doing in the middle of this Knoxville Nationals main event. On lap 30, Anthony Macri and Corey Day are battling really hard for the fourth position. They're going back and forth. Macri's on the bottom, Corey Day's on the top. They're kind of switching lanes. They're shucking and driving for that position, and it was a lot of fun to watch because Kyle Larson is basically checked out on the field. This was the best battle to watch between Macri and Corey Day. Lap 33, Scelzi now all over Kyle Larson for the race lead, and there was a couple of times that Kyle Larson nearly, bend it coming off turn 4 and nearly crashed the car. Turn 4 cushion was extremely treacherous. We saw Larson a couple of times jump over it, get the car sideways, looking at the infield wall, and gathers it back in, drives down the straightaway and able to keep on going. There was one point in time, though, he did clobber the wall coming off turn 4. Don't know how the car stayed together, but he was really, really struggling coming off the fourth corner. And you could kind of tell towards the end of the race that he was, kind of being more ginger coming off that side of the racetrack because he does not want to make a mistake. So the track was really, really tricky, especially in turn number 4. Lap 36, there is traffic for the top 2. And on lap 37, the running order is Kyle Larson, Gio Scelzi, Carson Macedo, Anthony Macri, Corey Day, the top 5. The top 10 is then relatively shooken up quite a bit. The back half of the top 10, it's Brian Brown, Scott Boguski in 7th at this point in time, Jacob Allen 16th to 8th, and then it was Tyler Courtney and Sheldon Hodenshield, the top 10 on lap 37. Lap 38, Corey Day now back into the 4th position, getting by Anthony Macri, and on lap 39, he's then up to the 3rd spot, getting by the 41 of Carson Macedo. So Corey Day, late in this race, absolutely on the charge, and we were praying to the Lord above for a caution because it would have been a very good finish, I think, if there was a yellow. By the time Corey Day got to 3rd, Kyle Larson was absolutely gone. I say that on lap number 40, Larson's lead over Scelzi. I mean, I would say Larson was gone, from Corey Day. From Scelzi, he was relatively close. He was only, 3/4 of a second ahead of Gio Scelzi on lap number 40. It was 0.756 across the line on that 40th lap. Lap 42, just 2 laps after that, Larson extends the lead. Scelzi is falling back, and the lead is at 2.0 seconds. So not sure what happened on those 2 laps for Gio, but he lost a ton of ground. And at that point in time, everybody I'm sitting next to is wondering, what's going to happen here. It looks like Larson's going to drive off. Larson's going to drive off into the sunset and get his 3rd Nationals win. And a couple of people around me are getting up and leaving early because it looks like the race is over. And it kind of was at that point in time. Lap 46, Sheldon Hodenshield gets by Jacob Allen, moves up to the 9th position. On lap 48, Gio Scelzi and Corey Day are battling in traffic for the 2nd position. And you can see it right there. We need a yellow. We need a yellow. Please bring out the caution. The race would be so good if the yellow came out. Unfortunately, the yellow never came out. And on lap number 50, Kyle Larson wins the race by 3.8 seconds at the line. As I mentioned at the top of this, It was his third ever Nationals win. I believe his fifth sprint car win in a row. And he's now led 100 straight laps in the Knoxville Nationals main event. So Kyle Larson goes from qualifying the Cup car early on in the day, flies all the way to Knoxville, Iowa, gets in the sprint car, and dominates the biggest race of the entire year, wins $190,000 in the process. And the guy is, he's crazy, man. He's absolutely crazy for what he's able to accomplish right now. There is nobody like him in the country. There's nobody like him that we've seen in a very, very long time, potentially ever. What he's doing right now is absolutely insane. And it's crazy to think that a couple of weeks ago, we thought that he was struggling a ton behind the wheel of that car. And now he's at 4 or 5 straight wins behind the wheel of it. So Kyle Larson, fun to watch. He wasn't very fun to watch tonight because he kind of snuck up the show, to be quite honest with you. But it's good for sprint car racing when a guy like that is able to go out and get the win. He's got so many people following him, watching him from different disciplines. So congratulations to Kyle Larson. He got the win. Gio Scelzi second. Corey Day, the hard charger, from 11th to 3rd. Carson Macedo 4th. Anthony Macri 5th. And then you got behind them the rest of the top 10. Brian Brown 6th. Then you got Tyler Courtney 7th. Scott Boguski, top 10 the entire race, finishes in the 8th spot. Sheldon Haudenschild 9th. And Jacob Allen, really, really solid top 10 finish for him. Darren Pittman slips back to 11th. Not the race they were hoping to have, but still a very, very good week for Darren Pittman, a semi-retired driver. David Gravel, 19th to 12th. Donnie Schatz, 21st to 13th. So Gravel and Schatz, two guys that were the favorites going in, not even in the top 10, struggled to make the show in the first place. Logan Schuart, 14th. Brady Bacon, 15th. Then you got Justin Peck, James McFadden, Bill Baylog. Tough night for Brad Sweeten, 19th. Emerson Axum, 20th. And the rest of these drivers, I believe, did not finish the race. Brent Marks, Chase Randall, Rico Abreu, and Justin Henderson, the field of the 2024 Knoxville Nationals. So hopefully you guys enjoyed all the coverage we had this week. It was a whole lot of fun. The channel grew a ton, and we got a lot of new subscribers and a lot of new people following the channel as well. So thank you guys so much for all the support, and we'll be back on maybe tomorrow, but more than likely Monday as we get ready to get back racing with High Limit Racing for the West Coast Swing. So thank you so much for watching. Comment down below, what did you guys think of the race? Hit subscribe, hit like, and we'll talk to you again here soon.